Hey guys, I'm lazy. I play RuneScape daily, and I just enjoy sharing what I do. So here's a little of what I did yesterday. This piece of shit right here has an Armadyl task. I really wanted to do Sarah, but unfortunately he's deciding what the group's doing tonight. So, we're doing Armadyl. I'm gonna go tank, so that way he can stop bitching about how much damage he takes. Wish us luck! Since the content for this video is pretty much just this one Armadyl trip, I figured I would take the opportunity to talk about my opinion on the God Wars bosses, their mechanics, and the fact that, in general, I find them pretty boring. If you look at Armadyl, if you're doing it right, you stand in a corner, you click your quick prayers, and you don't have to do anything until the end of the kill. Then you run around and clean up. It's not very engaging, and for a team boss to not even have to touch your computer, let alone interact with it in an active capacity, because it's quote-unquote a team boss, it just kind of ruins the experience for me. Like, if you're going bossing with friends, you're there to have a good time. You should be clicking, there should be some damage risk. So let's talk about what's going on with Armadyl. Armadyl really has the one super strong range attack. I believe the max hits 72. It's something that you pray against and you get to ignore. And then its magic attack is rolled off of your ranged defense. They did pull whether or not we should have this, and it never passed the poll to change to be based off your magic defense. That's something that I personally would have liked to see. If it was rolled off of your magic defense, you'd have to have a much better array of defenses lined up, and you have your melee, your range, and your mage defense. Doesn't really matter too much if you're going in max gear, but for your more budget-friendly setups, would have been nice to see a big trade-off with that regard. As it stands, the biggest threat in the Armadyl room is either, if you're solo, it's needing to eat, and if you're in any kind of group, it's the melee minion. If you notice in any of these clips, to start going early on, it's the melee minion that's going around hurting people. For this reason, that's why you can see me wearing a Justiciar helm, as well as Dragonfire shields. I brought the extra tank because I've done probably close to 2,000 Armadyl KC across my various accounts, and doing all this kill count at these bosses, or at this boss, the only problem has ever been the melee minion, or not being able to take Kree out. In order to emphasize these points, I'm probably going to put some of these clips out of order, so you may not necessarily notice that the kill count lines up correctly. We do get an item during this trip, so I don't know where I'll put that in, but you will see that at some point, and that does change how we play around. With the melee minion being a threat later on, Mr. Margley ends up screwing around. He's elking, but because of the fact that he's got his spellbook filtered, he ends up misclicking and teleporting out to Trollheim. It's actually quite funny, and we got a good laugh out of it. Convinced him to bring us more supplies to carry on the trip. But when he did that, we went down to a duo, and as a result in the duo, I think the first one, I was taking quite a bit of damage, while my friend Mo on task emphasized taking out Kriara. But to compensate for that, I started realizing if he's just going to be damaging Kriara, I might as well minimize the damage that we're taking by taking out the melee minion. So you'll see me starting to blowpipe like Kalissa at the start of the kill. And once the melee minion's gone, essentially you take no damage. It was a huge boost to our supplies. Do I think this is good game design? Not really. It's not super engaging. I would love to see a high effort, high reward kind of payoff, or at the very least, a little bit more of an engagement. Standing in a corner, clicking quick prayers, attack, and then forgetting what's going on. That's something you do for Slayer or general training. That's not something that you should be doing as a boss. And I feel like if you were playing another game and the boss was click and forget, you would probably put that game down really quickly. Hey! First drop of the trip, we got an Armadyl helmet. So, I'm here for the Armadyl helmet, but earlier tonight on KC 276 and 280, Potato Wedges got an Armadyl chest plate and an Armadyl chain skirt. I'm going to throw them in the video, if I remember to. So that's full Armadyl tonight from this task. The other point that I mentioned about Kriara, or as I've been calling it, Armadyl, it's the same thing in my head, and Armadyl's just more fun to say. The other point that I was getting at was about its defense being too high. We're now in a point where your levels are hard capped, so if Jagex wants to make a monster harder, they just send its defense through the roof. And then once they send the defense through the roof, they have to start coming back with another thing that just completely ignores defense. Or, worse, we get something like the Dragon Warhammer versus the Ornate Pool situation, where we just remove the defense altogether. Neither of these are really great ways of dealing with bosses. It doesn't do anything that makes the boss harder. It just makes it more frustrating. A bullet sponge has never been an interesting boss mechanic, something that you have to put 900 shots down range instead of one accurate shot. It's beyond frustrating. I'd much rather an orb spawn and I have to run across the room and touch it with my bare hand or something and have that deal like the final 10 damage to Kree, instead of sit there in the corner and just have to wait as I fail again and again and again with 200 range bonus, using the Armadyl crossbow special effect to double it with 99 range, rigor. Like, I can do everything in my power, and it's not going to make the boss any better, any easier. It's literally sit there and wait as you dump down range. That doesn't really make for an engaging experience. It just makes things unnecessarily frustrating. So, this is a problem that's been going on. It's at Callisto, it's at Tecton, to the point where they had to buff the special attacks when they hit Tecton and miss. Kriara and Commander Ziliana often have this problem. It's not something that's just unique to this one instance. It's becoming more and more of a mindset where, oh, all the players are max level, so the only thing that we can really do is just crank up the defense. Be nice to see other mechanics. So what do I really want out of all this? I just want Jagex to consider what it's going to be like for the people that view the content and the people that participate in the content. If you're going to make something a 1 in 500 drop rate, 1 in 1,000, 1 in 10,000, whatever you're going to do, make sure that the content can hold up for that long. You have the Alchemical Hydra. It's a 1 in 1,000 drop rate for the Hydra's Claw. That means everybody's going to be grinding for that level. By kill count 100, 120, you start getting bored and falling asleep as you're doing it. You go 1, 2, 3, switch, 1, 2, 3, switch, and it gets kind of monotonous. The Theater of Blood, amazing content design at the end game, but because there's no variety to it, and the amount that you have to go through it, it does get a little boring to watch when it's the 387th raid, because that's what you need to do in order to get the items on your Iron Man. The Chambers of Zarek has it done very well. The layouts change, the boss rooms change, the mechanics, they do change as you go to challenge mode. But it's one of my favorite pieces of content because it does change up how you do things. Ulm is never exactly the same fight, so it's a fun thing to keep doing. In retrospect, by contrast, you look at Kriara, I've literally put a clip in this video of me clicking my quick prayers, clicking attack, and just waiting there. A very simple fix for that would be to have the blue magic tornadoes pull you in under Kree, and then you get meleeed. So, blue tornado pulls you in, you have to click to run away. Not an amazing mechanic, but it adds a bit of randomness to it, and means that you have to participate in the content. I just want Jagex to understand the scope of the situation that they're creating. Understand what a boss fight's going to be like when you're doing it for the 700th time. Or adjust it so that way you don't have to do it 700 times. I'm not asking for more common drop rates, I'm asking for content that lasts till the drop rate. I've spent the last several hours making bows at the bank. It's not interesting, but I am getting pretty close to this fletching level, and I would like to nail 85 agility at some point in the near future, so I'm going to run around on rooftops while making darts. That's probably going to be the sum of my day. It's currently 4 AM and I'm struggling to get clips, so sorry if today's just Arma and agility. It's what I did with my day. There we are, 90 fletching, 448k tonight. Managed to grab some agility XP along the way, but most importantly, that allows me to +5 boost for dragon darts and make dragon arrows, should I ever come across a bow that can shoot them. That's going to be all for me for tonight. Thank you for watching.